Hi, everyone. Good day. I hope you are all fine and you are doing so well. It's a pleasure to come your way to assist you with how to go about collecting your survey data using a questionnaire. And this time around, we are looking at it from the point of looking at collecting your data online instead of doing physical distribution of your data. So without wasting time, we go straight into it. There's so many different software and platforms where you can put your questionnaire, and then from there, you can distribute it to your potential participant or respondent. So you can talk about places like the Quatrix. We have the Quatrix. So quickly, I'll show you how the Quatrix look like. So those of you who will have access to, or you want to get access to Quatrix, you can just, if you have access to it, you can use Quatrix. So Quatrix is also one of the ways by which you can get access to that. But for Quatrix, you need to register, some of them you need to pay. Some of their models or some of their products, you have to pay for it. But if you are lucky enough and your school has access to Quatrix, then you can use Quatrix. Another form is Microsoft Forms can also help you out to do this. So those of you who have access to Microsoft, you can also use Microsoft as forms to also put your questionnaires and then distribute them. But today, what we are going to look at is that we are going to look at Google Forms. One of the reasons why I want to help you to know how to create the Google Forms or use the Google Forms to put in your questionnaire and distribute is that it seems a lot of people use Google products. We all use, or many people use Gmail, Gmeet, which is Google Meet, and other products that come from Google. So I think, and from what I have looked at in terms of comparing various platforms where you can distribute your questionnaire, I think, and I'm of a very good view that you can use the Google Forms, or you are supposed to use the Google Forms. So how do you go about the Google Forms? So without wasting time, I'll go straight to the point. If you have access to Google, which we all do, you can just even do normal Google search. Normal Google search. Can do a normal Google search. And then when you do a normal Google search, if you have an account with Google, if you don't have an account, you can create an account. But if you have an account with Google, you just come to the top right-hand corner, as you can see in my pointer. You click on this, and then you see a number of products or apps that are coming from Google. So some of these forms of some of these apps coming from Google include the YouTube, the Gmail, the Gmeet, the Gchat, Maps, and the rest. Okay, so I'm not going to bother you with all these things. I guess you have an idea about them already. So I'll go straight by clicking on. So click on the Google Drive. The Google Drive is a form of, or is a storage device where you can store your materials, your research outputs, your thesis, and all other documents that you think they are very important. You can store them there, including some of your transcripts, and other documents that you think they are very important. Because I quite remember when I was going for a job interview. The interviewer wanted to get a certain document from me. And what saved me that day was that I remember very well, I have all my documents, things that are very important to me, saved in the Google Drive. So I quickly just did a Google search, downloaded the document, and showed it to the interviewer. And it's really helped me a lot to get that job. So it's good to always save. So those of you who are having Google Drive, you can save your transcripts, you can save your certificate, you can even save your CV in the Google Drive. Okay, I will not bother you too much. So let's go straight. So Google Drive, straight, you click on that. And when you click on Google Drive, come to, you get something like this. So come to the new. So you come to new. So on the new, you click on the, when you click on new, you see various things that will pop up. New folder, file upload, folder, upload Google Docs, Google Sheets, and all that. So click on the Google Forms. Click on the Google Forms. When you click on the Google Forms, it will open this for you. It will open this for you. Okay, so this is where we are going to put in our questionnaire. But normally, I would suggest it is always good that you create your questionnaire in the MS document or MS Doc. And then once you have that, you can easily take the things that you have put in your questionnaire, you can transport them here, or you can import them here easily. So always do that. And also another reason why you have to always create your questionnaire in the MS document is that it is good for you to do a little bit of a pilot study, and then also do a little bit of validation of your questionnaire to make sure that the items that you are putting out there is something that has been validated, is something that is supported by those in your industry and those also within the context or the area where you are undertaking the research. So let's look at something. So I'm going to create a quick questionnaire, and this questionnaire is just something I'm creating, but the assumption here is that it's something that has already been validated, but actually that's not the case. So I'm going to go straight to the MS Doc, MS Word rather, the Word. And within this MS Word, I will just create a new sheet. With this new sheet, what I'm going to do with this one is that I'll go straight by creating my questionnaire. So I assume this is my questionnaire. I'll just label it as my questionnaire. Questionnaires always must have something like a preamble or a description of your questionnaire. In this section, talk about what your questionnaire is about, so that anybody who will get opportunity to respond to the variables, the statement, the questions in the questionnaire will have a clear, the person will have a clear idea as to what you want the person to do. So here is a description. So give us a description of the questionnaire. What is it about? It's about what? So right now, I'm going to do something. And here, I want to know the biggest risk. I'm taking this from Forbes. So this is coming from Forbes, an article written by Forbes magazine. And they wrote about the 15 biggest risk of artificial intelligence. So I want to conduct a research. I want to find out the views of participants, of respondents about the biggest risk of artificial intelligence. The biggest risk of artificial intelligence. So I'm going to list 15 of them, but I'll also give the opportunity to the participants to suggest or to tell me other potential risks that they think they are associated with artificial intelligence. Okay, so my research is about artificial intelligence. Therefore, in the description here, I'll talk about that. I need to explain what artificial intelligence is about. I need to also explain to my potential participants, my respondents, what is the risk. When we talk about risk, what is even the meaning of risk? Give a statement or 2 or 3 or 4 or maximum 5 statements explaining what the risk is about. And then you go ahead to talk about also what artificial intelligence is about. Because for all that you know, there's somebody who is getting to understand artificial intelligence for the first time. It's not everybody who understands artificial intelligence. Another reason why you have to also give a context or a preamble or description is that even when we talk about artificial intelligence, it has its meaning and explanation to context. And when I say context, I'm talking about the various industries in which they are applied. So if you talk about artificial intelligence in the construction industry, it may connote a different meaning to artificial intelligence in the manufacturing sector. The same thing applies to terms like circular economy. So you need to give a little bit of a context and explanation so that anybody who is going to respond to your questionnaire will understand what you are talking about. Okay, good. So let's keep on going. So the first one is description. So also in this description, state the main aim and objectives. Okay, another thing too that you can also add to your description or your preamble is the consent. Is a consent form. So I have done one. I have a consent form, but this consent form is not important in so many jurisdictions. I know these consent forms are not needed in so many countries or in some countries. But if it is something that is important, you need to just bring it in or you need to add it. So I'm going to check and see whether I'll get one. Yeah, so an example is here, something that I was working on some time ago. So you can see the preamble. The preamble is here. And then I went ahead to give a brief overview of the study. Yes, so after the brief overview of the study, and this is where I explain what the study is about. And then the preamble introduced the survey. And then after that, I can also add a consent or some form of consent form. And in this consent form, I'll be putting some statements and we'll be asking the potential participants whether they agree with the statement. For example, I would say that the whole or the entire survey would take that person about 3 to 5 or 3 to 10 minutes to respond. Is the person okay with that? And then I also state that if the person has any issue, you should contact me. Is the person okay with that? And so forth and so forth. So check all that. And if the person agrees, then the person can go ahead and then start the survey. Okay, so that is that. Then once you are done with the preamble, the next section is that you can also create a section where there is basic information about the participants. What is the basic information here about? The basic information here simply refers to the bio. We normally call them the respondent's bio or background or basic information or something about them. What are some of them? One, you can talk about their age. Here you ask them about their age bracket. You talk about their organizational role or what role do they play in their organization, their position. Are they consultants? Are they accountants? Are they quantity surveyors? What role do they play in their organization? You need to talk about that. And then the next thing that you have to do is that you can also talk about the number of years that you have worked. You can find out from them, how many years have you worked? So these questions, these statements are very personal they are very related to the person who is going to respond to the questionnaire. Whilst the first section, the preamble or the description, is more of like a generic general statement concerning the study that you are undertaking. Okay, so you can also talk about maybe if the person is undertaking a project, what type of project is the person undertaking? Is it a road project? Is it a transport project? What form of project? What kind of project is the person undertaking? So that must also be stated there. Okay. Then another thing too that you can also look at is that, so apart from the preamble, the description, and the basic information, you can now go straight to the point of talking about the main thing that you want to address. So in this case, I want to address the key risk or the risk of artificial intelligence. And how are you going to get this? So this is where the issue of literature review that I always encourage people to do will be important. And what is literature review? Literature review is where you look at the existing document, existing institutional report, existing project document, existing project report, institutional output. And then also you look at from the academia point of view, which is the journal publications and other documents that you can think of, conference papers, theses, and others. So here you do a lot of reading and you extract the most important statement. It's not every statement that you are supposed to extract when you are undertaking your literature review to address your main issue. So this session is going to be like session A. The bio will be more of like a session 1 or session A. And then I will name this session as my session B. Okay, session B. So in my session B, statement concerning the key risk or the risk associated with artificial intelligence will be addressed. So you can come up with a number of statements. And this is where normally you create something like, because this is a survey, this is a questionnaire. So if you want that structured questionnaire, then what you have to do is that the risk of the AI will come here. And then the scale, what scale are you going to use? In most cases, in most studies, the scale that we use is 1 to 5, but you can also make it 1 to 7. You can make it 1 to 9. You can make it 1 to 8, 1 to 6, but you need a very good justification as to why you choose a certain Likert scale. It's called Likert scale. Okay, so the Likert scale, Likert scale, you can read more about that. So Likert scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you need to give names, or you need to let the respondent know what each of the numbers represent. So for example, 1 represents strongly disagree. So that's my 1. My number 2, according to my scale, represents disagree. My 3 is neutral. My 4 is agree. And then my 5 is strongly agree. Okay, so once you have this, then anybody who is going to respond to any of the statement that you make. So for example, if I say maybe privacy issue, breaching of privacy is one of the risks of AI, then the person will respond, whether the person will let me know whether the person agrees or disagrees. For example, if I disagree, I'll choose this. Or if I agree, I'll choose this. If I strongly agree, I'll choose this. You get it? Yeah. Maybe you can talk about cost. It's another risk. So if I strongly disagree, I'll choose this. If I'm neutral and I'm not, I don't know, I'm not so sure about that, I'll choose number 3. So that is how they work. Good. So once you have this, then at the end of the day, you need to end your survey. If this is the main thing that you want to address, that's it. But I have also seen surveys where people add so many things to the survey, including other sections. So this is one of the sections, but if you have other sections like what are the solutions to this risk, some will have even the risk. Some people can even divide the risk into so many parts, including the risk identification, the risk assessment, the monitoring, and then also the controls. So it depends on how you want to break the sections into, but you can go down and create other sections. Once you are done with everything, you always have to end up by saying thank you to the potential respondent. And if you want to add any information, or if you want them, this is going to be more of like an open-ended questions. You can ask them whether they have, or they want to suggest, or they want to put in other questions that they think, other statements that they think, other words that they think are also related to risk of AI. So you can ask them in an open-ended questions, and then they will put them in. The questions or the statements in this table, they are more of close-ended. Okay, you thank them, and then if you want to maybe add other information, you can do that. But thank you, and thank you for being part of my survey, and so forth and so forth. Good. So once you are done with this, and because you retrieve your statements on the risk of AI from literature and all that, it will be very good that you validate. It will be very good that you do a little bit of a pilot study. What is a pilot study here? This is where you distribute this thing that you have designed, what I'm showing you now. You just give it to some experts, and these experts can be, you can draw experts from academia, and you can also draw experts from the industry. And the reason why these experts are supposed to look at your work is that because these people have work, or they have work experience on these statements that you have put in your questionnaire, they will be able to help you out to shape your questionnaire. Some of them will even suggest some things that you have to modify. And some of them, it's possible they may see some grammatical errors that you have made. So it is always good that once you are done with your questionnaire, you validate. It's always good that you give it out there. It's always good that you do some pilot study. It's always good that you give it to some experts for them to go through the questionnaire for you so that they can suggest some things that will help you to modify your questionnaire. Okay, good. Thank you. So now let's assume we have our questionnaire and you want to distribute. And this is where the Google Forms will come in. And also, if in case you don't want to use Google Forms and you want to use a Qualtrics and other things, you can use that. But in this context, we are using the Google Forms. So this is where the Google Forms will come in. So let's go straight into the Google Forms again, and then let's see how it's going to work. So here, as I started with you, we have created, or we have opened the Google Forms, and then here I can just put in survey questionnaire, or questionnaire survey. Or I can just put survey, just not to waste too much time. Okay, so this survey, you can give it a title. Okay, you can give it a title. Yeah, or you can just say, it could also be your project. Maybe you're undertaking a certain project, maybe your PhD thesis or your master's thesis, data collection, something. Then you put it there, something like that. So that it will remind you anytime you want to refer to this, or you can just put survey, as I mentioned. Good. Then you add the title. So the title here you talk about with respect to the form description, you can provide more context. So if you talk about, if you are saying master's thesis, what are you really talking about? What kind of masters are you taking? If you want to, it's not really compulsory and it's also not very important. So in this context, the title here is, we are trying to look at the perspectives of people on the risk of artificial intelligence. Or simply put, the perceptions on the risk of artificial intelligence. Yeah, so this is my understanding. Then here you can describe. So this is where the description will come in, and this is where you can add the project overview as I showed to you, and then the preamble. Okay, so this is where you can put a preamble describing what the study is about, and you can give additional detail, including the consent form. Okay, so based on the preamble, you can just go. So the preamble will come here. I mean, for the sake of time, I'm not going to do all these things. Yeah, but you can just put the preamble and everything, including the consent forms. Based on the title and then the description of the study, then you can go ahead and ask the people whether, or the potential participants, whether they are interested in answering this survey or not. Okay, so the question here is, from the description of the study, are you interested in taking part in it? So the answer here could be yes. It could be yes. And it could be what? It could be no. Is that okay? Good. So if it is yes, and also try as much as possible to click on required. The required here means that, like, it's more of like compulsory. They have to answer this before they can move on. Okay, yes. If yes, that's fine. If no, that's okay. Okay, but I'll be coming to this very soon. Okay, so that's the first part. So the next part, as I showed to you in this form, is the preamble description. I've done that. So now we come to the basic information section. So with respect to the basic information section, I'll move on to the next section. I'll move to the next section. Okay, good. And because we made the preamble compulsory, we can now look at some options that will help us. Now, let me come back. Okay, good. So you click on these three dots, and it will to give you show description. Go to the based on, because I want to, because not everybody is interested, or not everybody may be interested in taking part of the survey. So you click on this, and it will take you back to this. So if it is yes, if somebody answer yes, what happens to that person? Then you say go to section 1. I guess that is what I've put there, right? No, that's not there. So that's section 2. If no, what happens to the person if the person says no? So here, it's up to you. You can just say submit the form. That submit the form means that's the end. If somebody says no, that's the end. Submit the form. Or other videos and other scholars also suggest that if you get here, you can also create a section where you can give the potential participant some descriptions and some command. But I prefer to make it simple by saying submit report. Okay, good. So I have this one done. Now I come to my section 2. So when I'm done, I'll do a little bit of a preview. Okay. Yeah. I can do the preview now before we go to the section 2. So preview, how do you do preview? Come here, you see the small I at the top, you click on that. Good. So if I say yes, it will take me to the next section, which I have not created. But if I say no, let's see what will happen to me. If I say no, it will take me straight to where click to submit to finish. So you get a difference. Yeah, I'll do this again when we are about to end. Now, let me go back to the next section. What is the next section? Based on what we described or what I told you. The next section I said background information based on my MS Word. So in this background information, so here if you want to describe, it's not compulsory, but you can talk about it, but you can explain that for this section, you are going to collect bio data, data or information that are very important and close to the potential participants. Okay, so here you can add questions. So what kind of question can you ask? One of the questions is where do you live? Location. Okay, so if you want to add the location, then what you have to do is that you click on location, you click on drop down, especially if you are dealing with participants that are coming from different countries. So what do you do? So with different countries, you click on location. Location means where they live. You come and check out the countries all over the world. Get to know the countries all over the world, the names of the countries all over the world. So to make things very simple and easy for all of us, I'm going to copy all the names of the countries around the world and then go and put it there so that anybody who wants to drop down can drop down and pick it up. Okay, so I have all the countries. Good. And then I'm going to put it somewhere. So these are the countries that we have all over the world. Good. And then I'll just take out the alphabet. Just taking out the alphabet to make things easy for all of us. So this is when you are dealing with countries around the world. And if you are dealing with a certain continent, like let's say Africa or Europe, then also you have to select countries that are only related to that continent. Okay. So I have all these countries. I'm going to make it very fast. Okay. I have all these countries, different countries. Yeah. So I think all of them, yeah, ready? Good. So I'm going to copy the names of the countries again, then copy, but don't forget what we did. You click on this button which will add question, and then you select drop down. Then you come and insert or paste all the names of the country here, all the names of the countries here. Once you do that, yeah, so I have all the countries per my list. I have all the names of the countries here. Yeah, per my list. Yeah, and you can pick any website to get the names of the countries. Later on, when we do the preview, you see that it will show prominently, or they will show prominently. Okay, let's keep going. Good. So that is location where the participant is located. You can also make the question compulsory so that each of the participants will decide to participate. To make your work easy, what you can do is you can just duplicate the question so that you can go faster. But for the sake of the countries being long, I'm going to just create another form of question. So question, what other question do you think what do you want us to, do you want me to ask? Like your job position. What do you do? So, and we have different ones, multiple choice questions or answers. You can also choose other forms like a doctor. Is a person a doctor? The person, you just click on enter. The person is a teacher, a pharmacist, construction engineer, and others. The others that you add to this will give the participant the opportunity to just write what they are or who they are or what they do. Okay, so without wasting time, I'll just deal with only these two. You can add more. Okay, so this section has been closed or is closed now for now. So I've dealt with the preamble, I've dealt with the basic information. Now let me come to the main issue, which will help me to address my research question. And my research question was about finding out the risk of artificial intelligence. I want to know the perspectives, the perceptions that people hold, professionals. It could be professionals in your industry. It could be anyone. What they think about artificial intelligence. Great. Okay, so this section 2, so this will also be compulsory. So you come to Ask section, you click on this, and then you come to the main section that will talk about risk of AI. So here you can give a little bit of description as to what they represent. And then you go ahead by saying that in this section, participants should choose or respond to each of the statements by selecting one of the figures in the Likert scale from 1 to 5. And these are the meaning, or this is the meaning of the Likert scale. So you can explain all that here. Okay, once you do that, the next thing is to start putting in the questions. So here, because they are statements, and they are in the form of a Likert scale, I'll choose Likert scale. Okay, already I've put a Likert scale there. Strongly disagree. Strongly agree. So here you can roam about any of them, that whether you want it to start from the scale, start from 0, as it goes up to 10. Any of them, depending on how you want to measure this. But the most or the well-known Likert scale that we use research, especially in the construction management and many social science research, is 1 to 5. Okay, good. So you have this, then you now start putting in the statement. Okay, so each of the statements, I'm going to take the statement. Remember where I told you the statement will be taken from. The statement will be taken from, so one of them is lack of transparency. Okay, so the disclaimer here is that Forbes is helping us. So yeah, and then I'm going to do duplicates because since almost we are going to answer, we are going to see the same thing being answered throughout. I'm going to duplicate and also require participants to answer each of them before they can move on to the next one. If a participant failed to answer one, the participant will not move on. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this about 15 times. This is 3, 4, this 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15. Yeah, you can do all this, but you can also decide to do it one by one. Any of them that you think is okay for you, how you want to go about it is acceptable. Okay, whether you want to do it one by one or whatever. So what is the next risk from the Forbes magazine, which we are using as our source of variables from where we are extracting our variables? The next one is bias and discrimination. So you just put it here. You move on to the next one. 3. So number 3, and the number 3 is saying that based on questionnaires privacy concerns. Number 4. Four is ethical dilemmas. Number 5. Number 5. Okay, that was number 5. Number 6. Concentration of power. Number 7. Okay, there. Number 7 is dependency on AI. So these are some of the risks. Now we go to number 8. Number 8 is job displacement. That's number 8. Number 9. So number 9 is economic inequality. Number 10. Legal and regulatory challenges. Is another one on AI. By 11, AI arms race is another challenge. By 11, number 12 rather, is loss of human connection. Number 13. Misinformation and manipulation is also another challenge with respect to using AI. Then the last but one is unintended consequences associated with the use of AI. And then the last one, which is number 15, is existential risk. Existential risk. Okay, good. So now we have all these things. That's good. That's great. So what is the last thing to do? The last thing I would suggest you do is that you can either create another section, which is going to be the last section. Let me delete this one, where you just, so this section, you just use it to thank. It could be another question which will come right after the number 15, or you can create a section 4 where you thank your participants. So thank you. You thank them, and then you give a description. And if it is possible, there are some questions or statements that you want them to add to this, you can create or you can add it here. So thank them, and then also express how grateful you are for they spending their time to be part of this research. Okay, good. And then you can create another either question or statement where you tell them to add additional information concerning this question. Or you can also make this section a session where you can also provide them additional information that if anybody wants to be part of the study, they have to leave their contact details, either emails or phone numbers, so that you can contact them or something. Okay, good. So once you are done with all these things, then the last thing to do is just to preview. So let's all do the preview. So this is your thesis, this is the topic. Do you agree to consider? So here, let me say yes. So yes, it will take me to the next one. And it will take me here to the location. And the location, you can see all the countries are here. The person will just select one. So I am in Australia. I'll just pick my Australia and move on. What do I do or who I am? I'm a doctor. Then I move on to the next question. And then this is where the statements will start coming in. You know, and then you respond and respond and respond and respond to the end. And then the thank you will come in. Yes. So I have made everything compulsory. So let me try as much as possible to answer everything before it will allow me to move on to the next section. Other than that, I will not be allowed to move on. So let me try as much as possible to answer all my questions. Okay. Good. So I've answered all the questions. Because I've answered all the questions, now I have the go ahead, or I've been given the authority to keep on moving on. Then it will take me to the section where I created a thank you. So if in case there was something that I was supposed to put here, then it puts me here. And then after that, I have to click on submit. I can't submit now because it has not been published. So this is how you go about it. Then the next question is, what do you do? So now that maybe you have gone through and you're okay with everything, now the next thing to do is that you have to publish it. Yeah. So publish it. Okay. So now you have published it. So the question then is, how do you go about it? How do you get this to the respondent? So you have to copy the responder or the respondent link, and then you put it in the email address, or it could also be a phone, like a text message, or it could be a WhatsApp platform where you want to share the link or whatever you want to do. And then you click on copy responder. Click it. It's too long, so you can make it short. You click, you share with anyone via email, and that is the end of it. Okay. One good thing about this is that all changes saved in there, because the Google Forms was created in the Google Drive, it saves automatically. Okay, it saves automatically. So if I decide to go into my Google account and Google Drive, I must be able to see this. I must be able to see this in my Google Drive. Yeah. So this is how the whole thing works. And I think you are all okay. So this time, if you have any question or if anyone here has a question and you want to contact me for an advice, I think that will be great if you do that, so that you can get support from me. I'll support you, I'll assist you, I'll help you to put your survey, questionnaire survey data together first in the MS Word document, and then I'll also help you to transport them into the Google Forms that you can share with your potential respondents to get your survey data. So thank you very much. I wish you all the best and see you another time. The next time I will be coming your way, I'm going to take you through relative importance index. So let's assume you are done collecting your survey data. The question is, what next? You have to analyze the data. So I'm going to show you one of the techniques, one of the methods that you can use to analyze this data from your survey easily. So make sure you watch me, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this video with your friends so that you can all enjoy from it. Take care and all the best. Thank you. Bye.